poet is a visionary of his era. His words signify the essence of those times, the heritage of the era. It was the great Rabindranath Tagore who honored Subhash Chandra Bose as our national hero, which eventually came to mean the superhero. History is not merely a chronology of events. The authentic history is hidden in the folds of time, sometimes expressed, often implied. It is necessary to delve into those unknown pages of history to appreciate a personality as pervasive as Subhash Babu. He was a gem, every facet breathtakingly brilliant, lighting up every single nook of the Indian freedom struggle. His singular dream as a leader and as a general was to free India. He awakened the masses with the slogan, "Give me your blood and I will give you freedom." To him, blood signified not gory bloodshed, but the ferocity of patriotism that would drive out the enemy. Inspired by Swami Vivekananda, Subhash Babu was consumed with one passion, the betterment of India and her people.
When he was young,
Anita, his daughter, describes him as a pious and religious soul, compassionate to the core.
The poor, and there was a cholera epidemic, and he sneaked out of the house and went there to help nursing the poor, things like that, which is not that usual for a teenager. And but it also shows that there's a social concern and not only the spiritual concern.
This holy land, once the abode of gods, glory be to her. These verses of Vijendranath, the Bengali poet, always inspired Netaji.
His country and the struggle.
The Indian nation and its freedom was his only aspiration.
Was more important than anything else in his life.
Netaji's was the war against imperialism the world over. To say that he fought for India alone would be unfair to him. His conviction was that we ought to fight with solidarity to eradicate imperialism of the Western world, especially Britain and America, braving dire hardships or even death.
India has no hope of achieving her liberty. We are therefore determined to fight shoulder to shoulder with you, no matter how long and hard the struggle may be, and no matter what the suffering and the sacrifice involved may prove to be.
Getting into the civil services was a huge achievement those days. Subhash Babu threw it away for the sake of motherland and chose a path of strife, a path strewn with thorns. Says Professor Samar Guha, Netaji not only signified the dreams of a free India, but became the greatest revolutionary hero of an epic struggle for freedom. Captain Dawson says, Netaji's life was a fascinating blend of an able leadership, political perception, physical strength, and shrewd diplomacy. He was the greatest statesman, just fit for today's times.
That is the type of leadership we need.
Subhash Chandra Bose wished to fight this battle, taking everyone along. He had a profound respect for Gandhiji. It is unfair even to imply that he had any conflict with Gandhiji. A leader of his caliber is bound to have a mind of his own. It is always possible to work together, preserving your individuality. Netaji had said, there should be no doubt that our war is non-violent. But like any war, this too needs an army, an outfit, a machinery.
India is going to be free, and that we who live today are going to play a part.
This clarity of thought made him the supreme leader of the masses. This fact was only underlined when he was elected the Congress President in 1939 against Gandhiji's own candidate, Pattabhi Sitaramayya. Netaji was advised to put down a clean-cut agenda to better the Congress prospects. He had great vision. His determination, confidence and brisk style alienated him from the other Congress leaders, and he was compelled to form the Forward Bloc in 1939. Netaji had long foreseen the Second World War. When his premonition proved right, he tried to convince the Congress leaders that here was the time to catch the British in a lurch and drive them away. This is the golden chance we cannot afford to miss. Had his advice been upheld, history would have been different.
And I believe that this is an opportunity which we cannot afford to lose, which India will not lose.
At the June 1940 Forward Bloc session at Nagpur, his concept of a caretaker national government had truly awakened hopes in Indian minds. Subhash Babu was the only leader who kept the torch of freedom burning not only on our soil but also on foreign strands. He successfully advocated India's case in Japan and in Germany. Subhash Babu had nothing in common with a dictator like Hitler, but he ventured to persuade even Hitler for India's sake.
The Nazi regime was not his preferred.
The logic behind this thinking was that Germany and Japan were the enemies of Great Britain, and an enemy of an enemy would be a friend.
A consequence of the fact that Germany and Japan were the opponents of Great Britain.
In 1942, Netaji was invited to East Asia by the Indians residing there to guide their freedom effort. He arrived at Singapore after a harrowing 3-month submarine voyage. There he ignited a new enthusiasm among the Indians. Impressed by Netaji's legendary ability, Shri Raj Bihari Bose entrusted the reins of the Azad Hind Forge to him. On 21st October 1943, Netaji established in Singapore a caretaker national government and earned for it recognition from Italy, Japan and Burma. This was enough to spread a wave of exhilaration, not only in India but the whole world. Netaji, with his magnetic personality, gave a new, novel face to the forge, creating soldiers eager to lay their lives for the motherland. Netaji wanted to include all castes and creeds in his mission, a noble aim of freedom transcending petty differences. Had fate not intervened, India of his dreams was sure to shape up. And one fateful day, an air disaster struck. Netaji's last words to a colleague were, "Tell my countrymen to keep fighting to the last breath. Now it is up to them to carry on this struggle. I am convinced that no power in this world can keep India in chains now." Netaji's dream came true. India was finally independent. This legendary patriot who sought to thwart the colonial slavery of his motherland will be alive in us forever.